Meeting for January 11th, 2024. I welcome all of my neighbors here. The first aspect of our meeting is a roll call, is a call to order. The first order of business is special in that we have new members joining us. This is a nice rebound from our disastrous November meeting where we did not have quorum. I'd like to present Supervisor Jeff Gorell to welcome our new members and sign them and welcome them with the appropriate, whatever the...
Appropriate greeting, appropriate oath.
Oh, oath. The oath is where we're at.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for being here. I apologize for the audio issues earlier, but it was important for us to get up and running. Loved ones getting sworn in today, so we want to make sure that they get to see it. As the chair mentioned, we had a very low number of MAC members as late as last month. I'm glad to share with you, we now have a full complement. We have 5 MAC members that will ultimately be coming in by next month with an alternate. So it's going to be 6 members of the municipal advisory, Casa Conejo. So there'll be great, representatives for this community, I think. So joining Debbie and Scott will be Rob Alvarez and Brandon Garcia. Today, I'm going to have the opportunity to swear them in, and then next month, with the approval of the full board, and David Ayers will join, and we'll have a full complement on the MAC, which is fantastic news. So,
hooray for our side.
was recruiting, Israel was recruiting, we were out kind of talking to the community, and now we've got a full complement, and it's fantastic. Thank you, first, from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the 2nd District in Casa Conejo, thank you for your willingness to serve, those that are returning and those that are raising your right hand for the first time. So the oath of office for this particular position, the Municipal Advisory Council for Casa Conejo, and if you would, raise your right hand and repeat after me. Name? Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution, and that I take this obligation freely without mental reservation and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. About which the duties upon which I am about to enter. Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations.
And Supervisor Gorell points out that we have, in our next round, we have on deck over here, these will be our next 2 members joining us for the next meeting there. Richard will be joining us back, and I believe you were in the back at one time too. Yes. All right, so veterans returning to the MAC. I'd like you all to, we'll do a roll call now of the members now that we've got everyone here.
Scott Horn.
I'm here.
Debbie Hanna.
Here.
Brendan Garcia. Here. Rob Alvarez. Here.
We have quorum. We've got an official meeting. Thanks, everybody. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all, to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. I'm going to talk entertainment industry tech to everybody here. Pull the microphone right up close to it and do it like I'm doing here, like you're a talking head at a television show. In order for the sound to be good in this thing, the Council held on Thursday, September 14th, 2023, the minutes of the meeting of November 9th. I'll take them as separate requests for approval. This is where I'll get you guys, the new people, feeling we're procedurally going to look into the minutes. If there's any changes, we're going to make these changes here, and then we'll look for a motion to approve the minutes. I'll need a second, and then we'll have a quick vote on those. First off, on the meeting minutes from September 14th, are there any comments or corrections for this? A recommendation?
I moved.
It has to be from this side.
Okay. Debbie made the motion.
I move to approve the minutes from.
We have motion on the floor and a vote. Can we approve this?
Yeah.
Approved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The second set of meeting minutes are from the November 9, 2020 attempt to have a meeting. There was a roll call. There wasn't quorum. We have no meeting minutes other than to say that.
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve. I need a second.
Second.
Rob seconding. Okay, is there any other? We have agenda review for service representatives that are in the House. First shot at offering specific comments and things to their report in order to get them back onto their real duties as far as that goes. I'm going to turn the floor over to Kevin Orr, representative from the California Highway Patrol, who will be giving us a briefing a little bit, I believe, on the wait stations. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening. So I'm Sergeant Orr. I'm from the Conejo, top of the grade, the way station. If you don't know, we also man the 118 between Somas and Moore Park. If you haven't seen it, we've been under construction for over a year now. It started on the southbound side coming up the hill, and then now we're closed on the northbound side going down the hill. If everything goes well, hopefully next month we'll be back open on both sides. And long time to get everything back up and running. If you ever go out on the 118, you'll see that we have construction, what we call the eastbound side head. Usually we have roamers like Officer Smith here was doing a little bit today, another officer in the morning where we actually work county areas. They try to come up in different county areas to work where the semis are actually being driven. People are calling in and saying, hey, this is where we're seeing them, so we try to focus on that. Besides that, does anybody have any questions related to commercial or about the scales or anything like that? No? Israel did bring up the fact about the oversized vehicles in your neighborhood. Officer Ryan Ayers from the Moore Park office has been he actually sent flyers out, you probably got them in the mail, about oversized vehicles. It sounds like we've got pretty much 100% issue that you guys may have seen.
Yeah.
It has to do with the handicap, but it's one of the exemptions, so that's the latest on that. So.
He has a shredded front tire. He's not going anywhere.
Yes, so Ryan is still working on that. And thank you, because he put a lot of time and effort into getting that all done. Go ahead. Look up what the ordinances are for Casa Conejo. Ryan sent all that out. He's the one that researched all that stuff, so I don't have that with me in front of me to give you the exact numbers of what.
I believe it's over 8 feet in width, 27 feet in length, and I think 9 feet in height, but we can get that for you.
Unless it's local deliveries.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Sergeant Orr?
Yes, sir. The community was asking for it. It should have been done by the county. The county makes the ordinance, not the CH.
Oh, okay. So can I perhaps give you a little historical perspective on this? Size vehicle ordinance and what have you. Okay, so in this community of about 1,000 cars, homes, and the county, apparently we could not enforce them because posted. So this was a research project from 2022. This is where previous supervisor to Supervisor Grell's office, where we worked through the project enforce our oversized vehicle thing. And this became a regular complaint at our meetings here. We had people said we got this problem. And turns out we could get rid of them if we had posted signs. So proper wording and to find out where to put them. And then in the middle of last year, we were able to put Officer Ayers some ability to enforce that now, and he was able to convince as many people that were out of compliance to move their vehicles. There's one on Lesser and Jenny that has a handicap placard. We found out that the handicap placard trumps all. That California DMV placard allows him to park wherever he wants, whenever he wants, for as long as he wants. This is just the way it is. We found out. So the ongoing concern of oversized vehicles was something that the MAC looked into, figured out a way to make it better, and had our county representatives work through the technical process, the public work agency, to make the signs and install them. So now we have an ordinance that can be enforced.
Mr. Chair, if I can add to that, okay, I do have I pulled up the ordinance. The definition of oversized for this ordinance is if it's over 25 feet long, 7 feet wide, and 8 feet tall. So that's what constitutes an oversized vehicle. Also, just to add to that, what you see in Los Angeles is you'll see a lot of the caravans that have been built up. And so without the signage, you have no provision. So it's not just for residents, but to protect the community from caravans coming into the area. So the city of Thousand Oaks, for instance, had an ordinance, but certain areas in the unincorporated do have them. Casa Conejo did not, and we adopted it. The supervisor actually pushed for it in the first month that we were here last year, and then the Board of Supervisors approved it in February, I believe it was. But it protects you from what's happening in Los Angeles too. Okay, you have 72 hours if you're preparing for a trip, and 72 hours for when you're returning for a trip. There's no provision on the working, but I believe you're not allowed to have it more than the 72 hours. So.
Yes, there's a permitting process that the supervisor's office has that allows for specific reasons, and I remember that's something that we had confirmed. So there are some things to work through. If you have do you have a vehicle that you're concerned about? I guess that's. Have you gotten notices by the CHP? Okay. Yeah, well, everyone wants it to work out, so I'm sure that the field connection between the law enforcement and the potentially offending thing will have a lot of leeway to work it out, and you know, as you're saying. So we're looking at each one of these individually and making work as best we can for that. So. So far, it's a success. You know, I see less of these around. You know, and the problem ones that were there for a long time have also moved away. So, moving in the right direction in this issue. Thank you. Are there any more questions for the CHP?
Do you have a question for me, sir? Tomorrow morning. So what we do is every day we're out and about looking for thefts and stuff like that. And we need help throughout the community if you see something suspicious to call in and give the information. I wish it was that simple, but it's quite a process. And we work together with other allied agencies, so it's not just the CHP, it's not just the Sheriff's Department. All agencies are working to make sure that doesn't happen. And when it does happen, trying to help you out.
Peter, I can see that you're frustrated about this. Let's. Okay. All right. Any other thing for the officers from the CHP? We thank you.
Thank you for your
We
time.
appreciate you guys coming out. We also have in attendance here Officer Randy Eads from the Sheriff's Department. As I said, I'd like to bring the agenda with our as little of their time away as possible. Welcome, Randy Eads, everybody. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got the wrong one. This is Tim. Tim the
My name is
Sheriff.
Tim Barron. I'm out of the Thousand Oaks Station, so thanks for being here. And I'll give you my little update that I have. So, in general, we know the Casa Conejo is a quiet neighborhood with little crime to report, but the crimes that we do have continue to be catalytic converter thefts. Those are certainly still active. In the month of December, there were 3 thefts from Toyota Tacoma trucks. The main vehicles that are being targeted are those Toyota Tacomas as well as Toyota Prius vehicles. The best course of action crimes from occurring. I know that's not feasible for every single car in the neighborhood, but that's the best advice. And stole victims' tools valued at about $6,000. So again, valuables in your vehicles, it's best practice not to if you can, if feasible. So just be aware of that. And then there has been an uptick in gang graffiti. Was vandalized by gang graffiti in December. Passing report were taken for that. And then 5 days later, a similar incident with gang graffiti occurred at the school again. It has been identified as graffiti between 2 rival gangs in the area from Thousand Oaks. Tocas gangs, and the gangs are called Tocas and CVLS. And what I can tell you about that is they're being investigated actively by our Special Enforcement Unit, which is the unit that handles our gangs in Thousand Oaks. So it is being investigated, and we're well aware of it, and it's being looked into. So that's what I got.
Well, so when I read this report, I did some more additional researching on what's been happening with this. I made a call to the Unified School District and spoke with superintendent, but I spoke also with the principal, Aileen Wall, for Walnut Elementary to get a thing. She indicated that there was perhaps, that there were several break-ins at the counseling room where they jimmied open the window, and they didn't steal anything. They wrote on the dry transfer erase board their gang stuff as far as this goes. So she indicated that there was perhaps actually, and then the
I know that of the 2 events that happened in December, I can confirm that is correct. No property was taken. It was just the graffiti. In addition to the window being jimmied open, there was an accidental damage when they made entry. They stepped up. That was intentional, but the only crime that occurred once they made entry into the building was that forte. I'm a property crime detective, so I don't know.
okay. Well, we're gonna. This is that Walnut has closed its play yard. It was one of the best things. Last year, Conejo Unified School District worked on opening up play yards. When we were kids, you could go to the schoolyard, 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Walnut was one of these ones, and sadly, they've had to close it down again because of the graffiti. Discuss it all the time. I think grit should be a standing team stuff, so we know where we got. And the best thing we can do is get rid of it as quick as possible, and we'll take other suggestions along the way too. Is there questions for Officer Tim?
If you do see something, please call. Just call our dispatch, sheriff's dispatch, and just tell them what you see, and we'll send the unit over, and we can at least check it out. And if they are harmless, then yeah, please call.
All right. Well, that's what we're doing. We're the eyes and ears for the community enforcement, and so if you see something, say something.
That's right.
Any other questions for Tim?
Does the what help? The etching. I don't know of any catalytic converters that have been etched that have also been stolen. So I don't know if they just weren't reported, and I don't know if the thieves saw the etching and decided not to take it. It's unknown at this point. So maybe. I'd say any measure of prevention that you can take, I would recommend it. It's just it's unknown as far as the effectiveness of that.
My understanding on that is there's a couple of muffler shops on the boulevard that do the etching, but also catalytic converter covers. So I think that would also help some.
That's another thing. We haven't had any reports of catalytic converters being stolen that the shield was removed. So again, I don't know if that's because they saw that and decided, no, I don't want to bother, or if they just haven't seen it yet. The catalytic converters. I know that whatever the mechanism is, it contains precious metals. What the weight of that is, I don't know, but there's precious metals inside the catalytic converter that they take to salvage yards and they sell, for. I know it's a minute amount, but it's worth something. It's yeah. It is.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you there.
Okay. All right.
If you were going to become a regular guy, we'd like to welcome you. That is part of the consent agenda that we're going to approve next. I want to just say that we're on agenda review now. We allowed a couple of items go ahead of that. Is there any changes or things to the agenda for this meeting that needs to occur in addition to what we've just done? Okay, well, we'll move on forward with the agenda review is received as consent. We're going to move on to the consent agenda items 11 through 14. Now, this is where the different law enforcement and safety groups in our county give us reports. They give us detailed stuff, and many times they are in person, but they're always a written version of these reports that come in, and we talk a little bit about them, and we receive them. So I want to start with the first one where we were talking. We heard from Sergeant Kevin Orr and his associate, but I wanted to for people there, job opportunities. Any questions on the Highway Patrol consent report?
You also have an item on the point in time count for.
Oh, that's another consent item?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go on to that one as well. The fire department, what we'll do is we'll receive all the consent items simultaneously, but I want to talk about them. The Ventura County Fire Department points out that amount of rescues on December 21st was more than double the normal that they have on that day. And this was when we had our extremely strong storms, and Port Hueneme was inundated, and other things like that. So the ability of the fire department to respond to things is amazing, and they are all going to be moving their office here in Newbury Park, and I think this is official. We had heard that this is going to be right over there on Conejo Spectrum Boulevard on the other side of the freeway over there, not far from the big new fire station, as I understand it, not too far from that. So we will be having potentially a super duper new neighbor. The Sheriff's Department, we talked about the issue with the catalytic converters and about the Walnut Elementary gang stuff. Will we take, is there any questions on that particular report that we weren't talking about? Okay. Item 14 is the 2024 point-in-time homeless count. This is something where we pick a day and we're going to try and figure out how many homeless people are in our community here. I'm going to read this thing right here, just so we get a good reading of this. Each year, volunteers canvass their communities to collect survey data on the unhoused in their. This snapshot is vital in order to receive state and federal funding for services, determining bed count, and shaping local. Point-in-time pit count takes place on Wednesday, January 24, 2024. Flyer in the agenda packet for contact information and to learn how you can register to become a volunteer in this year's pit count. Finding out, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, if someone is interested in registering, we have a QR code. You can come to me and we can help you register right away.
Does anyone know? Has anyone seen any unhoused people in our neighborhood since the beginning of the year? Has anyone seen anything out there? Yeah.
We have some locals.
Yeah. By the Alamo.
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot, Target.
That's the flyer. If you want to register, volunteer.
Effort to get first count them and then help them. So that's the plan. Okay, so I'm going to accept receive and file the recommendations for the Patrol, the Ventura County Fire Department, Ventura County Sheriff Department, and the point. Motion to accept.
I move to accept the consent agenda for items 11, 12, 13, and 14 as written.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on the agenda items of consent? Can we all say aye? Okay. The recommendations to receive the items have been noted and taken care of. We're going to move on to our regular agenda. This is the good part of the show where we actually get to talk about all the things that are right on top of us right here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you also have public comments and then council comments.
Okay. That is,
Item
Number 8.
all right, so we're going to go back to 8.
And then number 9 and then number.
Very good. Supervisor Grell, would you like to go first? First.
He's number 8.
Public comments, okay. So we're going
Number 9.
to start with public comments. Citizens' presentations regarding the Casa Conejo Municipal Advisory Council related matters not appearing on the agenda. I have 2 cards here. My neighbor Steve Cooley is asking about, is going to tell us a little bit about census scam warnings and Steve Cooley. Come on up here and speak with your big boy voice right into the microphone, please. Now.
I got in trouble.
Yeah, my name is Steve Cooley. I've been a member of, a resident of Casa Conejo for over 45 years, and enjoy coming to these MAC meetings. However, have missed quite a few over the last year or so, but we're going to get back involved. Anyhow, what I wanted to mention to you and to those viewing right now is I was alerted that there's a new scam going around. It looks very official. I almost fell and well, one key is it's an update on certain census material. Gave all that information in 2020. What, did they lose it? I went to the census website, and they have something you can click on for scams, and that particular scam turned up as number one. It looks very, and just do yourself a favor and shred it. The second item that we were going to talk about, Supervisor Gorell and I spoke about a little bit earlier, so that's taken care of, and I thank you very much, sir. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome back. I also have a card from Peter Gilchrist. Peter, do you have more to say? Thank you. All right. Are there any more public comments from the people in the audience here about items not on the agenda? Okay. So we now move on to item number 9, Office of Ventura County Supervisor Jeff Gorell's comments. He's here in person to present them. Welcome our supervisor, everybody.
Thank you. It feels like open mic night at the local bar. We had a great at December. We did talk a little bit about year-end accomplishments, not just my staff's accomplishments, but the MAC's accomplishments, and we had a pretty impressive to the MAC website, and it's a roll up of kind of all of the things that we've accomplished collectively, and to look and see the great things we did. And it's a nice pivot point now. We've got a new board, some new folks and some returning folks that'll be on buzzwords for. We really want to get this board focused on what their vision is for what Casa Conejo looks like or could look like at the end of this year or 5 years from now. What's the strategic vision of the community? What does this community want to look like, and how can this MAC help drive that in partnership with my office? So that's really what the focus is now. I can't reiterate more strenuously the involvement in the pit count. I did it last year. Israel and I went out in the morning. You count people. It's a legal process that has to happen, and I share that with you because our Thousand Oaks Sheriff's Department's vulnerable persons team that works very closely with homeless here in the Conejo, they know all of these people by name. They can tell you day by day how many homeless people we have, yet they can't take that information and just plug it right in to answer the question about our point in time count of homelessness, even though they're the best subject matter experts, because the law requires that we actually go out on a specific day. It happens throughout the entire county, and people have to count and engage and collect information on where homeless people are and how many. So it has to happen. Even though we have so much great information from our Sheriff's Department, it still has to happen so that we can be the beneficiary of resources, money, and policy support from Sacramento and Washington, D.C. The pit count's important. If we ever wanted to, get to the point where our county is very strongly against sleeping in public, we have to have the equivalent number of beds and services to meet the number of people in our most recent pit count, and then and only then can we as a county sleeping in public by the Ninth Circuit case in a case called Martin v. Boise. So pit count is so important and worth your time. So please get involved. Let's see. Right now things are kind of a challenge financially. We're bracing for and preparing to buffer some challenges because the state of California is at a revenue deficit of $53 billion. To put that into context, when I was a state legislator, we had the largest deficit in California history at $33 billion. It was very tough cutting and fixing that gap, but we did, and we got through that process. But that's what they're looking at doing now, which means a lot of the resources that would normally come down to local government, including school districts, including counties, and the social net programs and the things like that, infrastructure funds, they're going to be more difficult to get this year and next year than they were in the last number of years when we had better financial footing in Sacramento. That's really the focus. I just want to say thank you to our new board members. Welcome aboard, and a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
While we have the supervisor here, are there any questions for the supervisor on items not on the agenda?
With this person from Tehachapi who is stealing converters and stuff, and the highway patrolman said something to the fact that, well, we just can't talk to the other one. It's all confused. They were right here. we should have had them talk for a few minutes here and just say, yeah, bring that back to the office, you know. So maybe there's something that you, Jeff, might be able to do to inspire such a thing. Maybe, I don't know, whatever you think about that.
Yeah, thank you. Jeremy Paris, the chief here in Thousand Oaks for the sheriff. We did cases together when I was a prosecutor for Ventura County 20 years ago, and now he's our chief of police. Let a converter issue. They just simply don't have enough officers to do a type of a scam or not a scam, a stakeout or a. They're doing the best they can, and they understand it. The challenge that trying to work with LAPD and the LA Sheriff's Department to try to stamp out the demand signal, which would be the easiest way to stop this, right? Because most of the places that take the catalytic converters once they've been stolen are these kind of chop shops type places, and they're not here. They're not in the Conejo. They're down in LA, they're in Tehachapi, they're in other places, kind of out in the, and we're working with those sheriff's departments to try to crack down on those places, because if people aren't going to, if there's no place for these folks to take their stolen catalytic converters, then they're going to stop stealing them. The specific, you know, I've seen officers like the one that was here, Sergeant Orr, kind of push back on people when they have specific ideas about how to do an investigation. It was suggested that that maybe that there was some people that could be called to find out a name of somebody who's driving up here and stealing catalytic converters. I think probably the best way, instead of catching them off guard here at the microphone, if you wouldn't mind just sharing that with my office and with Israel, we'll send that to Jeremy, and then the people that are really out there looking for and trying to prevent the catalytic converter thefts, which is more on the sheriff's side and less on the CHP side, but it's both. They're both watching. That we'll share that with them, and maybe they can start to put together a specific case. But going after the thieves sometimes is like whack-a-mole, so difficult. Back at the places where these catalytic converters are being sold for pennies on the dollar, you know. I'll get it to Jeremy, and then we'll get it to the right people. I think the folks we had here tonight were just not the right detectives. They're not the right ones that stay up all night trying to figure out how to thwart the catalytic converter thieves. So. Yeah. No, I mean.
All good. All good.
All good, right? So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we'll follow up on that. I understand it's a big issue, and people are frustrated, and when it happens in broad daylight, it shows you that people are so brazen that they don't care anymore. The penalties too, and that's a Sacramento state legislative thing. The penalties against theft of things that are valued under $1,000 it's a misdemeanor, and a misdemeanor now is cite and release. Really, it's almost zero bail in some places. So there's no, they don't care if they get caught too. So it makes it difficult for the police to want to catch them, because then they just cite and release them on the spot too. So thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we've got we've got some opportunity now for the council comments. We're on to item number 10. This is where the council has an opportunity to discuss matters they deem appropriate. I'd like to do a little bit of an introduction with our new members. I hate to put you guys on the spot there, but I'd like to be able to have them give a little brief introduction about themselves. And I'll start by just saying that I welcome you both to the MAC, and I'm thrilled to have you both on here. I can say that I've met Rob on his work excursions to my neighborhood. If you know Rob, he's a realtor, and he has been visiting and canvassing the neighborhood for decades, perhaps.
Yeah.
So he's probably visited
Long
every one of
time.
your houses.
Yeah.
And I only know Brandon recently, but his enthusiasm is a great, refreshing feeling for the MAC. So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first. As Scott mentioned, my name is Rob Alvarez. I've been a resident here in the Casa Conejo neighborhood for almost 25 years now, and no problem. I see a lot of familiar faces out here in the crowd, and you know, I was talking to my a month ago. Said, you know, we really need to get more involved in our community, and to help, you know, to give back, because this community has been very good to me. And lo and behold, Israel. And he said, well, we need some help here on our Casa Conejo board. Would you be interested? And I said, sure. So that's why I'm here tonight. I'm here to try and help and give back. And so if any of you guys see me and have your quotes or comments that we can take to the board, please do feel free to give me a call. Thank you.
Everybody, welcome our newest member. And our second newest member, Brandon Garcia.
Yeah, my name's Brendan Garcia. I guess I'm sort of first time, long time. We moved back here to Casa Conejo in 2021, but I grew up in Newbury Park. Went to Newbury Park High School. We moved back here so my kids could go to Newbury Park High School. They're both there now. I've got a junior and a freshman at Newbury Park, so go Panthers. Yeah, I am so proud to be able to raise my family in Newbury Park. So, you know, Casa Conejo is a really tremendous aspect of Newbury Park. The fact that it's unincorporated and we do have this ability right here, you know, I just feel very privileged to be sitting up here and part of the MAC.
Everybody, welcome Rob and Brandon. All right. Would either of you like to bring up any issues that we call this council comments? This is where you can say anything related to the issues, and if you want to bring up some things that are concerns of yours at this point, if there's anything new for you guys. Who'd like to go first?
Okay.
Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, it's been brought up, you know, already a few times by, you know, some of the people here tonight about crime prevention. And I think that's something that I would like to delve into as a member here of the board. And I don't know if that means, you know, going back to the old neighborhood watch or things that we can do to try and prevent, you know, the graffiti that's happened here and other issues that have happened in Newbury Park. But I would say that I think at the top of my list would be to be crime prevention here.
Very good. I've got it down. Anything for you? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that stuck out to me in the Ventura County Fire Department's report that these communities have started their Firewise certification process. I don't know what that is, but what I do know is that insurance is a big issue right now. Our costs are going up. I guess my curiosity is that certification, will that help with insurance premiums if we were to pursue that? Is it valuable in any other way to pursue maybe Firewise certification? So I'd like to look further into that, and if anybody has information about that, please bring it to me.
Firewise certification. Do we have any information from county on what this is about exactly?
We do. We actually have some information on the table, but I think there were 6 communities.
Speak into the microphone, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there were 6 communities in Ventura County last year that were deemed Firewise certified. There is a process, actually, I think we had it over here. It involves hours in preparing for fire prevention. Let's see right here. Firewise. And if you meet the requirements of cutting back on your brush, clearing your area, then what you do is there are so many, I don't know if you guys will see this afterwards, it's called Creating Defensible Space Maintenance Guide, and there are requirements that if you meet that, including you can document it, then you can qualify as Firewise. So we can go through that program. It's part of the 3 to 5 year plan also. We can put that in there, as well as crime prevention. And we can bring in professionals from the Ventura County. There's actually an individual who's specifically in charge of helping communities become certified. So we can put that as a future agenda item, but we can also have them present very specifics of what it is to become a Firewise community.
Now, when this first came up, I did a little research on exactly what communities had this. Think about the communities that are engaged at the edge of the wilderness. The ones that have their backyards at the back of Wildwood or at the edge of the Santa Monica Mountains, that have an awful lot of open space around them. These are the communities that have more or less first gotten on this program right there. And I understand that one of the more recent ones was Ventura Park Estates, the unincorporated area of Ventura Park. Now that's I think, I may not have that all right, but I'm pretty sure they're doing the Firewise thing. And that's, once again, that's narrow roads. If you know Ventura Park, narrow roads, right on the hillside next to the brush. So if they're working on something, that's sort of a similar group to us. They're unincorporated, and there could be something that we could follow in that lead. I'll ask Israel to reach out to see if there's any Firewise groups close to us that could perhaps be in contact and as well as having perhaps this Firewise person for the county look at us as a group and see if we're, a good candidate for this.
I would love to do that. And in fact, Santa Rosa MAC is also pursuing for 2024. And so we can maybe create a competition. Yeah, and Oak Park was certified.
Well, then let's add that as a future agenda item. We'd like to have a representative from the county's Firewise department to visit us and outline what the program is and see if we are the kind of area that qualifies for this sort of stuff.
Great. Yeah. Wonderful.
Debbie, you got any comments?
The only thing that I have is I am glad, proud, all of those things to see the 25-mile-an-hour signs posted around our community. We had quite a good conversation in September about speed humps and bumps and cushions, and how can we make the streets near our schools safer for people walking, riding bikes, etc. And I was very glad to go down the street and see the new 25-mile-an-hour sign with flags posted. So good job to whoever did that. That was fabulous.
We did it, and our office heard good from that and took that to
Good.
Great.
So, any other things got on the list?
That's all I have.
Okay. Well, right on. Okay, I have a handful of comments. I'm going to start with things that were brought up at the September meeting to follow up on. We had specific discussion about e-bikes and e-bike safety. We had asked at that point in time what were the specific rules that apply to us, and I'm hoping we have some information on that. E-bikes, rules on helmets, and is there a safety program for this and these sort of things? So we asked about that.
I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I did follow up on that. We have an expert, subject matter expert, who has spoke to a number of organizations here, including the City Council. Jeremy Paris, as our supervisor pointed out, he indicated that he does have someone that can come and speak to us, so that'll be more than likely on the next agenda item. So, but thank you.
We're still looking for a student rep. We're close to having our full board with an alternate and all, but we're lacking in our Newbury Park High School student rep. And we're hopeful that we got that. I've re-engaged now that the school year started again with the office, but I haven't heard anything in it. And I know Debbie and I have been working on this, so we're throwing it out. We're looking for a student rep, a junior or senior from Newbury Park High School that lives in Casa Conejo. So spread the word. A junior?
We'll work on it.
Wow, we got a. Can we have a father and child member? That'd be kind of cool. Okay, well that's another story. Okay, so I want to kind of work our ways backwards. One of the things that I'd like us to see, and I'm going to bring this up again, is that we need a physical map of Casa Conejo. In years past, there was a large map, and I know it's no longer around, and the idea is that we talk about things in our community all the time. We need to see that map in order to be able to say this is where this is and this is happening. It was a valuable tool for the MAC. Up until last year, it disappeared, and at the very first MAC meeting, I pointed this out, so I'm going to bring it up again. We need a full-size map of the Conejo that's on a foam core that we can say when someone says, I live on this street, we can look at this map. So I'd like that to happen this year, not let it be another year that goes by.
I actually have one. I just couldn't find it to grab it to get here tonight.
Oh, how big is it? Real big?
Yeah, it's big.
Okay. All right, so we got one.
All right. Thanks, Debbie.
Bring map.
So the other issue that we pointed out at the very beginning of last year was that the best way to advertise our organization is our lawn signs. And we didn't get any lawn signs forever. It took it upon Debbie herself to make these lawn signs. What I want to do is ask the county to provide us more of these little gizmos. The signs are good. All of that I've got are broken. All these are broken now.
That's a weapon.
I know. So can I get? I know this is a campaign thing. Can I get 10 or 12 of these out of the county's coffers, or your Okay.
Yeah, we actually before the year end we did have some new ones designed, and so they're pretty much ready to go.
New signs all around, not just.
I know. No, we had a new. Yeah, we did hear you. We did have a new sign designed, yard sign, and so we can get that for you.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so yes, so yes to both those. 10 more of the little frames, and if you have new signs, I'll put more signs up. There's more places I could put that are in all different parts of the Casa Conejo that I can put a week up ahead of time, and that way there'll be more people. Because as I'm putting them up, I'm trying to put them on the edges where I think most people are, but there's still several streets people can come in and they may never see that. So I'd love to have more signs. So if we have a little mixed bag of them, that's good. Thursday night is the night that it's works in the supervisor's schedule, and that's why Debbie switched those signs to say Thursday. So that's I looked at the calendar showing that we're going to be meeting Thursdays in the future this year, so we're good. Okay, let's see. Okay, also in the November thing, there was discussion about a disruptive neighbor bothering the kids at Walnut School, and I know that I couldn't ask the CHP officer here because he knew about that, but I want to know if we have any follow-up on that.
As I mentioned earlier, we did follow up, and still waiting for the response on that.
Okay.
The individual that was looking into it was on vacation over the holiday. And so we did make, and we'll continue to follow up on that.
Okay, so I'd like that to be an item to talk about next time, find out what happened with that. I might not remember it next time. I wanted to point out that the Ventura County Fire Department is accepting applications for new firefighters on January 22nd to January 29. This is probably 100, perhaps 30 or 40, I should say, about 30 or 40 trainees, I believe they call them, that they'll have opportunities to become county firefighters. So if anyone is interested, job openings, firefighters. I think I've got my things here. Oh, we had a person ask about metal roofs for conversion for fire safety. Did we have any follow-up on that? Yeah, I got the impression that the city was doing something special with metal roofs, and we were hoping to hear a little bit about that, so we'll see.
And they last forever.
Okay, so
I know we had someone that spoke on that as well, so I'll find that, who the expert was, and see if we can get that on there for March. Actually, it's part of your Firewise, too. It kind of, yeah, dovetails in that. Thank you.
okay, and those were all the items that I had related to comments not on the agenda. Are any questions for the council at this point? Very good. We're going to work forward on the review of the proposed 2024 Municipal Advisory Council calendar. This is where we're going to set the days that the council meets. Now, the standing rule at the point is that it's the second Thursday of every other month. So we have a tentative schedules for this. Can I tell you all about this? We've got March 14th, and I'm saying this to the council members to see if any of you have any conflicts with this at this point, or something like that. I want to see if there's any reason we can't accept these dates right now. March 14th is the second Thursday. We skip April. We go to May. It'll be May 9. May 9.
And for those who are in the audience, that you do have this on it's part of the agenda packet, so you can see it there.
So we're basically making sure we do this. In July, we have a July 11 meeting. Now, be advised, we don't get to use this room in July. They typically have closed down for school, and we've had to sometimes find an alternate location. I'm not sure if we did that this year or how that worked out, but in the past, because school's closed, we've had to find an alternate location. Next meeting would be in September. That meeting would be September 12th. Anybody have any issues with that? No. Okay. Last meeting would be on November 14th. It's once again, it's the second Thursday of the month. So we've got a proposed days for calendar. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about these dates?
July should not be an issue.
Okay. Okay. Well, there we go.
Scott, I did see there was a tentative holiday party for 2023 this last year. I don't think it happened, but
True.
it was on the calendar.
True.
Do
We decided it was just too darn busy to try and throw a
Too
party.
much going on.
Yeah, that's pretty much, and that's why that's why it's probably not in this
That
plan
was my
as well.
crazy idea, and
Do we want to try and do it again or no?
It's going to end up being so busy, and that's just what ends up happening at Christmas time. You know,
Yeah.
that it'd probably be tough.
So if something happens de facto, that's fine.
Yes, we have the ability to add a meeting with enough time to announce it if things came up. An example was in September of 2022, we had a second meeting when we convened at a public works project on the creek. And there was like a christening of the retention basis right there. And so it was a special meeting, so we can do that if necessary. Okay. I'm looking for a motion to approve the calendar.
I so move.
Brandon's moved that.
I'll second.
Debbie seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We've got a calendar set up for that. I hope to see every one of you in the next year. I hope to see you 6 times at least.
And bring your neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah, bring it.
So, was it the lawn signs that you guys saw that helped you get out here? Okay. I guess I'm doing some research here. How about, did anyone see the posting on Nextdoor? Okay, Nextdoor, got that. The Twitter post? I'm not even going to Instagram then. We'll just let that one go. Okay. All right.
You mean X?
Yeah. Oh, is that what it's called now? Yes, that's
X.
right.
Nobody's on X anymore.
Okay, so we have a consent on that, so we've got our date set for that. We're going to move on now to the
Item number 16,
item 16 here.
Legislative Subcommittee.
Okay, everybody, we've got a 16, I'm having trouble finding my little spot.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
the supervisor would like to comment on this item.
very good.
So twice a month or thereabouts, the Board of Supervisors meets. I don't know, 40 agenda items, and some of them have impacts to Casa Conejo, and some of them are fairly benign, but some of them may be of interest. And so it made sense to us when we came in last year to empower the MACs to maybe identify 1 or 2 people as a subcommittee that would start receiving the agendas of our board meetings, and then could, as a subcommittee, provide some feedback. I'm trying to think of our last, just Tuesday, so 48 hours ago we met. 46 items on the streamlined for the first time in the history of the county. A park. It is in two different kinds of contexts. First, we call it urban park, and it could be a micro park, a very small parcel in a neighborhood like Casa Conejo. The other one was an open space park that the permitting that we authorized and changed incentivized parks. It incentivized it through a more fluid and expedited process, through the tax code, and a number of other different ways to incentivize people that might have open space to open that up to the public for them to recreate, whether it's paths or like a hiking. Or some kind of a park like that. And an example in an urban setting, and this is a little bit over the top, is Gardens of the World. That is a privately held park in a privately maintained park, but it also created incentive to create parks. And if you have a parcel that's just being underutilized or is blighted, to find ways to incentivize to become something that could be a really nice little small micro park in a community. And as I was voting on it and we were deliberating it and talking about it and kind of discussing with our planning department what this looks like in other counties that have been doing it a little bit longer, I thought to myself, boy, this is just almost perfect for Casa Conejo. And it would have been nice to have a little dialogue with the neighborhood through the MAC before the vote, so I could get some kind of ideas on what they thought. Committee is to get our agendas, kind of scan through it, and see if there's anything that you feel like is important. I think as a subcommittee you can provide feedback. There won't be a Brown Act violation if it's just feedback. It's not a formal vote. It's not a formal position of the MAC, but for me, and I think helpful for the subcommittee and helpful for the MAC. That's just one example. There are probably 4 or 5 examples from last Tuesday's agenda that I could come up with, and there are certainly examples from every time we meet and vote. So
Awesome. Some questions? How often would this legislative subcommittee meet?
Well, subcommittees don't necessarily have to meet. They could do this remotely. So if they're really go-getters, they could decide they want to get together themselves, once a week at a coffee shop to go through upcoming agendas. It's up to the subcommittee, really is. And I don't think there's any limitations other than it can't be any more than 2. If it's 3, there's a quorum. If it's a quorum, it has to be Brown Act, and a Brown Act, then it has to be open up to the public and all of the notifications. So that is the limitation.
So it's the subcommittee of this group that I kind of got the impression it was the other MACs too. Are those other MACs members meeting all as a group? Is that what you're saying? How many would that be?
The other MACs do have started subcommittees on legislation. They don't, and then they talk amongst themselves and share to me and the staff. Yeah, but you could meet. There's no prohibition. Any kind of subcommittee could have subcommittee on bike lanes, and they could meet as needed. And
well, so discussion on a legislative subcommittee.
The chair is one of those 2 members. So what you're looking for is someone else. You could certainly vote on that tonight, who that other person is. We can also table it and wait.
Okay, so
that other members that will be sworn in.
is there anybody else who'd like to serve on the legislative subcommittee for this purpose at this time? Okay, we got a volunteer. Thank you. So that sounds like maybe by the next time you're sworn in, we'll have a chance to do a subcommittee on some sort of thing like that. So great for you stepping up. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, so we're going to table it till the next.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Discussion about a legislative subcommittee from the audience or anything? On to item 17, Public Works Request Update Report for December. For the month of December 2023, there were 4 work requests sent to Public Works using the Ventura County Public Works Administration Connect portal. 1 request was removal of graffiti in the channel. 3 requests involved signs or traffic light replacements on Ruth Wendy, William Drive, Dina Drive, and for a sign that was knocked down at a crosswalk. Out of the 4 requests, 2 have been completed and 2 remain open. I personally have involvement with one because on the corner of William and Dina, which is right over here, my neighbor gave me a call and said, hey, the crosswalk sign is knocked down. Do you have a cone? And I had some leftover cone, parking cones type of thing. And so I put a little sign out there. I put the cone right on top of the sign that had fallen down. And he said he had called and left a message, but I knew that I could probably get a public works request in, and because I've done this before for the graffiti in the channel. And it was easier this time than the first time. Let me tell you, every time you do a little bit of online stuff, it gets a little easier and you're able to kind of work it out. The interface is pretty decent, and this is the good kicker. The next day, Public Works was out there and replaced the thing. The next day, the corner of William and Dina, they took away the old sign, put up the new one right there. Now, thankfully, they didn't have to drill down and pull out the old thing and do it. They've got new technology and new ways they put it in there so that there was an easy connect and disconnect. So, Public Works works. That's do we know anything about the Ruth Wendy sign? What the story is about that and what that had to do with?
I just had I believe that was when it was knocked down.
Okay.
I did a little write-up on each one in there. What we're really trying to do is just, when you do this, in fact, I saw your report when I looked at it. And then also our chief of staff, Mark Perryman, also used it for something that was here. So you get feedback. So they'll send you back an email. And I really want to encourage you guys to use this, because if you let your neighbors know, and I have some other as well, they can use it, and you see graffiti, like the chair was saying, that it was the next day they were already working on it. So like a fire hydrant that was damaged, and then there was also another a street sign that was starting to fade. Whatever it is, We also had, like this week, someone reported something through through the portal in Oak Park, and it was someone had knocked over an electrical box, and there was exposed electrical wires. So, there's things like that that you just see. If you have it on your phone, it's very easy. Just go to your app store, download it. It gives you a drop down for what the type of problem is, and then you can put notes and everything like that. So please take one of these as well. So every month we'll be reporting on this.
All right. So, any questions or comments about the Public Works work reports?
No, that's actually. In our office, the supervisor has been working very closely. Our chief of staff has been working on ways to make the portal user-friendly, a little more. So, thank you guys.
Well, all right. That was item number 17. We're going to move on to number 18. This is the fun part of the thing. This is where we're forward thinking. We're talking about our 3 to 5 year plan. Now, the new members, I haven't been privy to the steps before this, but the idea is that we've been brainstorming, coming up with ways to look forward. Now, we realize that as an advisory body, we're primarily reactive. We primarily react to things as they happen, and that's just sort of the nature of things. The oversized vehicles become an issue, we react and work on that issue because it's right in front of us. But the idea being that we could work towards a future, 3 to 5 years, with ideas that are designed for future use in Casa Conejo. So it's a brainstorming thing. What have we got as strengths? What have we got as weaknesses? What can we do? And there has further down the regular meeting information at the very, very back of this, at least in our bunch of stuff, is information about the here it is, right here it is, the 3 to 5 year plan. And this is I'm gonna go over these if you guys don't mind. What we were doing is we were talking about our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats in Casa Conejo, and how to assess them. And this is in no particular order, but these are most of the things that we came up with. And I suppose we're still in the idea part. We certainly don't limit ourselves to these things, but we've got opportunity here. And a couple of the main things that came up through the discussion, constantly having, bullet points, constantly having to keep up with graffiti removal. It's a threat. That's why I've requested our grit team report is on every agenda from now on. Catalytic converter thefts. We hear this every single time. This is the ongoing big issue. It's a threat. Overdevelopment. It's a very big threat. It's actually going to happen. This is a big issue. Overdevelopment will happen here. We need something for the youth, a youth center, opportunities, something related to this. Now, one of the thoughts was to do something with Walnut Wildcats. We're here, we're in their space. I've engaged with the principal, Eileen Wall, to come up with something that the MAC could conceivably interact with the grade school. So that's an opportunity. Something for the kids to do. Keep them out of trouble. Poor road conditions. It's a weakness. We recognize our roads need more work, and they're working on including us in the repaving earlier than planned. So that's something we can work on to make better. Aging infrastructure. We're all aware that our drain pipes are essentially clay pipes, and these clay pipes have the ability to be broken, and they have the ability to have roots to get in them, and so this is a weakness. We don't have any entertainment space. Ports were brought up as far as that goes, like a bowling alley or a drive-in movie theater. It's a weakness. Buses do not go to the teen center. It says a weakness. Talking about creating a teen center at Borchard Park, perhaps as a satellite to the teen center over near the main library. We pointed out that Casa Conejo is the first neighborhood of Newbury Park. That when you're out there, tell them you live in the first neighborhood. Large backyards. We have large backyards. We have the ability to have ADUs and JADUs in them. In about 20% of the houses could have ADUs. They have big enough backyards. That's a strength. We have a housing crisis. If you have the ability to put a granny flat in your backyard, something to consider. You have the ability to do that. We are next to a watershed. The Arroyo Conejo South Branch runs right. We need a newsletter. This is an opportunity. The idea of having some sort of a Casa Conejo newsletter. The proximity to parks. We have more parks per capita than any other city, as I understand it. It's a major strength. I know that if I want, I can take a walk, perhaps 100 yards and get open space right now, if I wanted to. Not 100 yards, within a mile. Is a strength. That's part of our DNA. We like to think of ourselves as adjacent to the wildlife, and we're semi-rural for us. It was a seriously debated thing whether this could be something we'd want to maybe change. No, this is a strength. Or have a mailbox that has character to it or something like this. This is a strength. Neighbors are close to each other and talk to each other. This is a strength. We know most time. It's a strength. We're close to the freeway. Noise. Overhead power lines. This is a weakness. The idea of burying the power lines has been brought up numerous times. It's not likely to happen, but it's important to point out that this is a weakness. Pride and ownership. This is a strength. There were other thoughts, but I want to see if anyone else would like to contribute to this list.
I have a concern.
Mhm.
We talk about a concern for overdevelopment as a threat, but then a strength is let's build ADUs and junior ADUs. That's a conflict if you ask me, which would then freeway. Just saying.
Very good point.
Just saying.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
So where we are is you guys started off with the SWOT analysis, which is what the chair just covered. It's a starting point. So the reason that you did the SWOT analysis is to begin the discussion of what is important and what's not important, or what is it that you want to categorize. So you start with the SWOT analysis. Where you are today is you then build for a mission, vision statement, and a mission statement. The vision statement defines where you want to be. That's your destination. Our vision is to blank. And that's part of the mission statement is how we get to that destination. Okay? So it's very important that you begin this process tonight with what is your vision for your community. And it includes all kinds of things. You want it to be safe. You want it to be a place where kids can grow up. All these things that started to come up in the SWOT analysis begin to be formulated and organized by your vision and your mission statement. And then you begin to start going into goals and objectives, and you begin to categorize things according to safety. For instance, we want a safe community, and that includes crime, and includes graffiti removal, all these different things. And you begin to bucket these items. So tonight, what you guys get to do is there's a couple that I included that just include what is a vision statement, which really, if you want to come down to it, is what I told you. It's a destination statement. But together as a group, I included this worksheet here where you begin to define some of those things as your vision statement. And then eventually, not going to necessarily happen tonight, is that we're all going to agree at some point what vision is. And it's your job as a MAC, and I'm really glad about the new members that are coming on board, because we've talked about your involvement in the planning process. But does everyone understand? I guess that's my question. Tonight, start to define the vision that you have as a community. And Mr. Chair, you can do that and solicit input, break into groups, take 5-10 minutes to, for people to congregate, whatever you may want.
This is where we're spitballing and being creative right here. Off by saying the vision statement should mention that Casa Conejo is the first neighborhood of Newbury Park, and its unincorporated nature strengthen. I ran out of spit right there.
Yeah, what you do, just continue. There's no start listing things, and then as you start to see commonalities that you all have, then you know that belongs in your vision statement. But a good way to start is to say our vision for Casa Conejo is, because that's what's going to point out. And you at the end of it, you want to be no more than like 12 words, so it doesn't become confusing to people. But it's a statement that says our vision for Casa Conejo.
More like homework, I think. We should like the last time, let us come home with this, because this is the first time I've seen this paperwork. So rather than brain cells right here, and unless someone's going to be copywriting right now and come up with some good thoughts, it seems to me like it should be homework.
If you can, what's helpful from our office standpoint is that if you want to start this process now, and then can then for the next meeting say, just like I just did on this list right now that you had from the SWAT, I can come back and say this is what people listed as part of ideas for the vision statement. Otherwise, it goes on to the next month. So.
I'm happy to share some of the notes that I've written down.
Very good.
And I did do this a little bit ahead of time, so this isn't right off the top of my head. But I would like to see Casa Conejo be a strong community. So whatever that means, whatever comes from that. I'd like to live in a beautiful neighborhood, right? I'd like beauty to be a component of where I live. I'd like to live in a safe community, right? I want Casa Conejo to be safe, what we would all consider safe. I'd like Casa Conejo to be a model of leadership for, the other MACs. I'd like them to also look to us and the things that we think about. I like Casa Conejo to have really healthy communication in lots of different ways. I think these MAC meetings are a great platform for that. I think we can expand on that with the website and other things. I'd like us to be considered innovative thinkers. So along the lines of, thinking about, okay, can we get this FireWise designation and drive down the insurance for the entire community? So what things can we think about that innovative thinkers? And I'd like us to be diverse and really embrace our diversity. I do notice Casa Conejo is ripe for turnover. There's a lot of people that have been in Casa Conejo for a long time. Rob, you can speak to this. And there's a lot of people that are moving here, from other areas, from Los Angeles and other areas. And I think that embracing that diversity is going to make us stronger. So those are some of the ideas that, I would like to continue to innovate into our vision statement.
Those are great ideas.
Share that.
Debbie Ellis, my neighbor.
Community swimming pool. So as a vision statement, because that's really good, but it's part of the details of that. But in a vision statement, a broader statement, how would you put that? You want to have a what kind of place for your children?
More recreational activities, yeah.
Recreational opportunities. That's
good point. Other comments?
Casa Conejo is a 1,000-house tract divided by Windy every piece of property besides the school is a house. You can't add to the space we have. We're landlocked, but because of TO. Something where, safety, yes. We have some safety issues in Casa Conejo. A lot of the other issues, we can't put a park in Casa Conejo. They're all houses. Every piece of property is a house except for Walnut School. So we have to come up with ideas that are going to deal with that reality. That's not in Casa Conejo. That's in the city.
Yeah.
So with that, a very good point. The idea that we don't have extra open space around us, and we have a Wildwood School here, perhaps, and they have open space, perhaps to do with Wildwood. Walnut. Excuse me, Walnut. I'm the Wildcats up there. Walnut. The idea being, maybe there's the room for a community garden at Walnut here. I mean, I'm just saying, if we agree that there isn't any space for a park, but there is the school here, can there be some sort of an interaction with the school on this?
You guys you're heading in the right direction. So let me just show you how this works. Vision statement, we want a safe place to live and have recreation. Now let's go to the next level. So the next level is recreation may be the category, right, for your business plan. But then it goes into the next thing as an objective or goal would be access to more of the amenities with the parks. Then it goes into your tactics. I'm going to give you an example. So we had discussions with Conejo Rec and Park recently to talk about something that you guys had brought up, that there's no bus line that goes to the teen center. So they are interested in piloting a program for this summer. We're going to begin discussions on this to talk about bringing a bus here for the kids that want to get to the teen center and don't have the ability. So, we want a place for our kids to have recreational activities, right? Because if not, you're going to see trouble, you're going to see graffiti, you're going to see all these things. But part of your vision is, if you're thinking about these things, right, and you're developing all these kinds of programs for your children, that's part of this process of what you're going through tonight. So again, starts with a vision, broad, goes into a concept or not, a tactic, and then we start working with, let's get a bus that goes in the teen center. Does that make sense, you guys? Seeing this?
Yes.
So you guys are on the right path, you're going the right direction. And opportunities may come up in the future that you never know about, that you have to be ready to seize instead of being reactive. So it could be that there's opportunities down the road here that are going to lead to, and we're working on some of those. But
We're landlocked, but on all four sides we have opportunities. If we just step out. We step out, we go to Orchard Park. We step out, there's places to go, things to do. There's parks up the road. There's other things to do. But that's what we have to figure out is, like you were saying about getting something to the center, the teen center. It's there. We can use it.
right now you're coming up with what's our vision. So far, what I've been hearing from you guys is you definitely want a safe community. You want a place for your children to be a safe place and a fun place to grow up. What are some of those other broad things that you want to throw into your vision statement? And I encourage the MAC members, this is a process right now for all of us to have this.
Going back to the recreational space, I think at Sequoia, don't they have like a Boys and Girls Club right there at Sequoia? Maybe there could be a portion of Walnut that could be for some recreational space for the Casa Conejo.
So even though you're landlocked, the strategy becomes, how do we partner with the assets that are in our community? How do we begin to build those bridges to those? You guys are doing great, so please, more ideas on a broad vision. Safety, recreation for kids, What else?
Casa Conejo is defined by the watershed, by the Arroyo South branch that cuts right through the center of our community. We are related directly to the watershed. It should be included in our vision statement.
Again, a vision statement is going to be 12 words. Then you broaden it through your mission and you broaden it through your, but right now what I want to keep on point is, what's the vision that you see 10 years from now for Casa Conejo? What are those big items? Safety, environment. There you go.
Sorry, I'm really late, so I don't know what's been covered, but I recently tried out the inadequate bus service that we have to Newbury Park again, and was stranded again last night when one of the buses blew right by the bus stop, 25 minutes late. She had no intention of stopping there because she was in the fast lane. That happened to me about 4 years ago, the last time I stopped using the bus. Even back then we had inadequate access or services out here, but at least we had the red and the blue lines coming out here over by Smart and Final. Now we've only got the gold line. The blue line only goes into the Amgen area, Alpha Rancho Conejo. You have to walk all the way to Artisan and Hillcrest to access it. I sent them a nastygram this morning about how I got, abandoned last night out there, and 4 years ago. No response from them yet. I asked Israel to check into whether the county's been giving them funds for the services. I know they're talking about revamping the lines and everything, but I've just felt for years that Newbury Park's like the bastard child of the Conejo Valley. We pay taxes, but we don't get the same level of service as the rest of the city. So the bus system is one of the things I'd like to see addressed. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for your input on that. We'll try and veer back to that at some point, but we're going to try and get back to the mission statement.
No, we're on the vision statement.
Vision.
What about beautification as a topic? So you've talked about safety, you've talked about a place for your children. What about is there anything from just top of the head landscaping or any kind of
I've lived here since 1975, and the ugliest thing of the person who owns the house or is renting the house just lets it go all to hell. And it's just, the bushes, not the bushes, are this tall, and if there's some way that the community can come together to help these people, because there was a lady who was homebound over in Casa Conejo here, and the whole front of her house was just full of garbage and stuff. And the community did come together, help her. We got a big dumper and got rid of a lot of the stuff. I mean, 3 months later, it was all back again. She was a hoarder. Anyway, the way the community can come together and, and help people beautify their yards.
Okay. So again, let's show you how this works.
Okay.
That was so on point. You start off with beautification.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Deb.
I think that what Brandon, microphones, I think that what Brandon kind of put out there right in the beginning sums up the words that you were saying. Safe, beautiful, model of leadership, healthy communication, innovative thinkers, community pride, diverse, and we need recreational activities. That kind of sums up everything that you're asking.
I totally agree. So what it needs to be input in this is not just something coming, but the example of that statement is it's hitting the top line kind of ideas that is your vision, which defines your destination, which that statement does.
Exactly.
And then from there, it begins to trickle down, and it gets more exciting because each level that you start to delve into, you get into goals, objectives, but you have to start with these top line ideas. So I'm excited, you guys. This is good.
Exciting.
So I think that with having said that, that the words are in place of what we need, and then from here we move on to the mission statement. Is that correct?
Ask people, yeah, ask.
Does everyone agree with that?
Read the statement again, and then ask if anyone wants to
It's
add
your
to that,
list.
or, yeah.
Well, I would say to make it a little bit more succinct, maybe we could use it as like a little bit of a homework assignment and kind of bring back a final vision statement. I mean, for me, I'd like to work that over a little bit if we want to get it to a succinct statement.
We were, like I said, but Mr. Chair, I wanted to play this out long enough and far enough so that everyone gets what the process is, so that we get buy-in from everyone. If we just do it as a homework assignment without any instructions or working through this process.
We've spitballed a lot. We've talked about these things. You've given us a great core of things. I agree that it should come back with elegant language, you know, sort of a thing. And I bring this up as sort of a thing. In the writer's room at a comedy show, they don't just come up with a they get bits and pieces of it where it's coming together. It takes time to coalesce it into an articulate and innovative and I would say core elements. We got to
refine it,
massage it, refine it,
yeah.
You know, and give it pizzazz, as we like to say. So and all be brief enough and with clarity that it cuts right to what we're about. So maybe we've got enough issues now, enough things on our list here. Maybe we could all go home with a little bit of homework and say that we'll work on a one-line mission statement of our own that we can bring in next meeting. A basis to finalize our thing.
Do you think, and I think I agree, that we could set a goal by the next meeting, at the end of the next meeting, that you have a vision statement in place? Do you think everyone here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be, you know, my cards are here, so you can emails, provide the input. We can begin the next meeting when we get into this planning part of it with closing up and defining, doing an exercise to define what it is. Like we can bring in a board, we can write, and then as we begin to do that, then the next thing is it makes the mission statement a little easier, and then we start going into the meat of the plan.
Well, and I would say that if you have words for the vision statement, to move forward with suggestions for the mission statement, bring that as well.
Yep, exactly.
So, and vision statement and mission statement are the same thing?
No.
No.
Okay.
Vision, they're very similar. They're integrated. It's like right and left hand. Vision statement is your destination of where you're going to go. It's how you're going to accomplish that.
Gotcha.
But it's still about, that's where you get to your core values, your things like that. So vision, our vision for Casa Conejo 5 years down the road is, and our mission statement, we're going to fulfill that by this. Boom, 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 boom. So it's your roadmap of how you're going to get to your vision statement.
Well, there you go. And put it into production next meeting, and throw it against the wall and see how well it sticks.
You can always revise it over time, but the good thing is to get it done. And then
Alrighty. So, is there any other further discussion on the 3 to 5 year plan? Any other input anyone in the community would like to offer? Conclusion of our meeting here. We're at that point where let's see if I've got any loose ends on here on this agenda. Check to see if there's anything else on the agenda here.
That was it, just...
It's just an adjournment, that is all there is after this. 19, the adjournment of the Casa Conejo Municipal Advisory Council meeting from today. Any last business before I accept a motion to close? So your addiction issues of who administers law enforcement in our area?
Right. State mandates that highway patrol is responsible for traffic development for the county. However, for instance, Supervisor Morel, I don't think that even makes sense for the islands of unincorporated county. Because PD surrounds us. It makes more sense for them to come there. One thing, we don't care about the streets. Our mandate is patrol, we have to find, we'll get out. All the highways around. So, I just think that the PD is
And that could be addressed through your planning process as well.
I was under the impression that in our area.
Well, it's true. We had the sheriff in here giving us specific information about the graffiti and the things like that. So it's true. We get both of them, whereas the city doesn't get reports from the CHP because they're just doing the highways. I guess we have to look into that and see how that's all sorted out. Interesting question. Okay. All right. Item 19, an adjournment. I'm accepting a motion.
I move to adjourn the meeting. It is 7:57 p.m. on Thursday, January 11th.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting is closed, everybody. We'll see you guys in 2 months. Thank you very much for attending. I appreciate everybody who stuck it out here. You guys are awesome. Thanks. Thank you very much.